I spend a lot of time volunteering with farmer to farmer overseas with backyard flocks and low income people who can't go buy feed or whatever. And so you have to think outside the box. How can you get something to feed these birds that doesn't cost anything?
Yes.
So, there's solutions out there if you just think outside the box. Whether it's a commercial industry, backyard flocks, whatever, don't be fixed on one thing. Think outside the box.
Welcome to the Poultry Podcast Show. Today I'm here with Dr. Jackie Jacobs. Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm really excited to chat with you with some educational opportunities we have for practicing veterinarians. But first, I want to hear, how did you get into the poultry industry?
I sort of just fell into it. I was originally going to be a physical therapist, but I didn't get into the program. So I stayed in biology, and I thought it was too basic. So I went into applied and changed to animal science. Wanted to be a geneticist, so I changed to the Poultry Science department that actually existed at that time. And the day my transfer came through, the geneticist I wanted to work with had a cardiac attack on campus and died. So I couldn't do that. So I just did general poultry management and just sort of fell into the whole thing after that. I went overseas for a while, came back, decided I needed a master's in poultry nutrition, decided, then the person that I was supposed to work with gave me to somebody else, and the projects that were available were not what I wanted. So I did it anyway, but what I wanted to do, I could do for my Ph.D. So I kept going a little longer than I had originally planned.
Looking for an alternative to traditional coccidiosis management? DSM Firmenich can help. Digesterom Pepi is not an anticoccidial. It is an in-feed alternative that has a unique formulation incorporating carefully selected and diverse essential oils and yucca with specific biologically active properties, and can be incorporated into rotation and shuffle programs to support a cost-effective coccidiosis management strategy. Learn more at dsm.com/ANH-NA.
That sounds like, so many built-in struggles. I mean, graduate school already is challenging in different ways, but then having mentors pass away and all of that, gosh, that's a lot of hurdles. So I bet you have good advice for success in the poultry industry later. Perseverance. Oh my gosh. Awesome. So what was your road to your current position?
Again, a funny one. When I came back, I went to Kenya to do my PhD research. And when I came back, they hired me on as a postdoc and then a research associate. And when I started applying to jobs, there was nothing much in Canada. So I started looking at the States, and everybody turned me down automatically because I was not American or was not applying from an American university. So I took a job at the University of Florida because I was overqualified for the job, but they didn't care that I was from Canada. And then once I got there, I could start applying to other jobs. I promised I'd stay 2 years, so I didn't start applying till after that 2 years was up. But because the applications were coming from a American university, then they weren't automatically, turning me down. So I got a job in Minnesota because the poultry program was closing in Florida. They were very helpful at getting me into Minnesota. I didn't get tenure, so a friend gave me a position here at Kentucky, for which I am overqualified, but He lets me do anything I want. And so as long as it makes him look good, he's happy. And so I have a very flexible schedule. It's 100% extension position, which is one of the main reasons I left Canada. They don't have that. But he said, yeah, as long as it makes me look good, you can do anything you want.
The rest is history.
The scary part for him is when I walk into his office and say, I've been thinking, or I have an idea. Like, oh God, what are you going to get me doing now?
Well, it sounds like a perfect career for somebody who wanted to do extension, since that's what you get to do all day. So
yeah, any way I want.
Yeah, you ended up in the right spot.
I'm much happier here than I was in either of the other jobs. So I've been here 15 years now, which is the longest I've stayed in one place for a long time.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I wanted to talk to you today about a class that you've got set up for existing poultry veterinarians, or veterinarians who want to learn about poultry. Correct me. Yes, sorry.
Yeah, it's for practicing veterinarians.
Yes.
Who are not poultry veterinarians.
Yes.
The way it started was that with the change in the feed laws here in the States, then backyard flock owners could no longer buy medications over the counter. They have to have a veterinary prescription, which means they have to have a veterinarian client relationship, which means they have to have a veterinarian who knows anything about poultry, of which there are very, very, very few. So here in Kentucky, we tried doing in-person classes. And although there was a great desire to participate, the problem was that if you are one or two people in a clinic and you want to go to a day-long training, you have to shut the clinic down, which is a loss of financial, things. So participation was pretty good, but more would have come if it wasn't, in person. So we got a grant to put together a virtual class. We worked with Michigan State and Utah State. So Utah State was David Frame, who recently retired and who is a extension veterinarian. And then Mick Fulton, I think his real name is Richard, but he goes by Mick Fulton. At Michigan State was a teacher in the veterinary college there and does do some posts. And so those two helped us. I put it together and then they weeded out what was incorrect or what should be added or whatever. Or they did, the first version I did, they didn't like it because I was talking too extension-y. I was using common terms and, they wanted the fancy terms that a veterinarian might use. You know how you go to the doctor sometimes and they give you these big words that don't mean anything to you. So I was talking down they said at too low a level. So then we had up and use more technical terms. And we got a narrator to do it, professional narrator, but he had trouble with some of the words. So we had to get pronunciations right. And then when it was finally finished, we had 3 veterinarians review it, poultry veterinarians review it to make sure that it made sense and, whatnot. And then we partnered with American Association of Avian Pathologists, who coordinate the registration and the payments and all that for us. And they had some people review it in order to get race credits. Those are credits that veterinarians have to have. And so they get 8 race credits by completing the course, which takes about 8 hours. So most of the people don't sit there for 8 hours doing it, but it's something they can do on their own time, at their own pace, so they're not losing money by doing it. And it's relatively cheap compared to most avian CEs. It's only $300. And so, they're getting relatively good CE credit. So whether or not they'll start practicing, don't know. Some say they will, some say they won't. But that they would take, they won't advertise that they're doing it. But if their dog and cat clients have a bird they need a question about, they might answer it. So we've had about 145 people registered in the last 2 years, and I think 50 have finished.
So is the course set up in something like chapters? Let's say, an hour of material at a time. Is that kind of the idea? Modules, yeah.
Which are topic related. So some modules are large, some are small. There is a Captivate presentation so they can listen to it. It has closed captioning for anyone who can't hear. It also has additional resources so that if you have a specific thing, especially if you want to do something surgical, you have to be careful about the anesthesia. So there's specific resources for that, because the two veterinarians that helped with us were more pathology than, live births. And so we worked at providing resources. So
if I was a poultry veterinarian, and I wanted to tell other people about this course, or if I'm, just anyone, a veterinarian that would want information, is the AAAP website the best place to go?
Yeah, it is.
So that I could sign up and take the course on my own time, just directly from that particular website.
You register with AAAP, they notify me, and then I send you the information how to get an account. It's a Moodle program on e-extension, which is the internet, the national extension, cooperative extension service. So
once they start, is there a maximum time? I mean, do you expect them to finish the course in 5 months, in 1 month? I mean, is it unlimited as far as completion goes?
We give them 2 years. But because of the resources that are there, we don't, kick them off.
Sure. Yeah.
And they can still come back after they complete it if they want to review something or they want to read the resources again.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. So they have lifetime access. Is this something you envision that will need updates over time, or is the information, do you have planned updates, or are you kind of rolling with it till you have a major change?
For the most part, we're rolling with it. We'll have to update, most of the basic diseases are the same. There isn't a lot of inventions, on treatments of diseases. If a vaccine comes up, the whole idea that we started with was that once you complete, then you can join this, completion webinar, Facebook page. It's a personal, private Facebook page just for those that have completed the course. And then updates would be provided there. Things like the avian influenza that's now, causing problems with all sorts of species, not just birds. And, if there's a new vaccine or some of the basic stuff, you can get that. But it seems veterinarians don't like Facebook. Because of the 50 that have finished, only 4 have gone on and accepted my invitation to. Oh
my gosh, that seems like a good resource.
I would have thought so too, but I think a lot of them aren't on Facebook.
Yeah, they don't have time.
That's
can
probably
understand
it.
That.
I would have thought it would be worth it because it's private. It's not like you're going to get swamped with all these postings every day. It's just going to be updates, but. They don't, that didn't work. So I have to think of something else.
So I know the original intent is to help educate those without a poultry background, but was the original idea forward thinking from kind of like your side, from an educational side, or were veterinarians asking for this information?
It's probably a combination of the two. Mostly it was from us because when it was our first training in-person training was when they were going to enforce the new feed law that would prohibit the backyard flocks from getting any antibiotics because they would no longer be over the counter. And so we wanted more veterinarians to do poultry. Yeah. And so it was our request that we have these workshops, but it was the workshop participants the first and second time, that said it needs to be online so that they're not losing clinic time in order to participate.
Well, that's really a great response that you were able to get a grant and move the courses online, because that is no small undertaking. I mean,
it took me 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, congrats on getting a grant to help fund it, but that is a huge amount of work. So it would be amazing if veterinarians who might have a need to treat poultry would take your course so the information can be disseminated.
Yeah, we do have a pre and post survey.
Sure.
And we ask about where are they located. We do get worldwide participation, not just America or even just Canada. I mean, it's France, Germany, all sorts of different places who don't need the CE credits, but want to learn about poultry. We get government officials that have taken the course, both federal and different state levels. My personal veterinarian is taking it. I found that funny. They do birds, though. So maybe she wants to learn more about birds. So yeah, people take it for different reasons. One person said they're only taking it because they have birds. They happen to be a veterinarian and they wanted to learn more about their birds that they have. I don't know if he needs the CE credit. Some are retired and just want to learn more about it. So there's a whole, wide variation of reasons that people take it. I don't think that all of them are interested in adding poultry to a practice of any kind. We are thinking of, we're working on opening it for students veterinary students, because it seems that veterinary schools don't offer a lot of poultry unless you actually do a poultry, path. And most people don't. They do cats and dogs, maybe horses if they're, but food animals, nobody seems to want to do food animals. So veterinarians who want to do food animals tend to get in easier, but everybody wants to do cats and dogs. So, and most of those cats and dog owners have poultry.
Yeah.
So trying to get a prescription, you need to have that relationship with a veterinarian.
Yeah, I think that is being more stewards of antibiotics is always great, but it also puts back on the veterinarian to have the education to understand in a species they're not familiar with that's quite different than the other population they might work with. It gives them pause. They might need to learn and then make a phone call. And if they don't have a poultry vet friend, which there's not that many poultry vets, you're absolutely right. They got to get their education from somewhere else. So, I mean, kudos to you and the team. This is a phenomenal thing. And I hope that practicing veterinarians are able to take advantage of it. So we got to get them to listen to your podcast here.
One of the other things that I monitor a lot of the small flocks related groups on Facebook and, different chats. And some of the things that are recommended, it's like, don't eat the eggs, please. Don't eat that chicken. Like you're doing things that are not safe. And then sometimes they try everything at the same time. Okay. And so you get drug interactions and, one person killed their chicken because every other day they tried something different. And a lot of people are going with medications that are specific for other animals, like cats and dogs or horses or cows, and trying to figure out on their own what the dose should be for a small chicken. And it's really scary, some of the things that you see on there. and some of the things that other people are recommending.
Not good. You should
Not
work
good.
with a vet. Work with a vet who knows what they're doing.
Nobody can.
Right. Well, that's what I mean. They can use your resource as an educational background, and then they can give a better recommendation. Is there anything that we missed about this course that you want to make sure the listeners here understand?
Well, if they're a backyard flock owner, they need to let their veterinarian know about it so that they can take it. If you're a veterinarian and you're interested in learning about and treating poultry, most of the diseases are poultry related, but there are, if you want to do birds, if you want to do exotic birds or companion birds or whatever, a lot of the stuff is relatable.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. So it can expand your knowledge maybe to some other things that could be helpful in your practice. So very useful continuing ed credits if it can be multifactorial.
We'll have to come up with a new one for pet birds, I think.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, that's a whole nother ballgame.
It's challenging when I'm not a veterinarian. Ph.D. I'm a nutritionist, not a veterinarian, but that's why I had the veterinarians helping.
Yeah, that's perfect. Exactly why they're there, right?
They're not good at online extension, but they're good at their material. Unfortunately, we're both retired. So
next generation for the update.
It's time for our famous three. Probiotech International is driven by innovation, inspired by nature, and passionate about contributing to a more sustainable, safe, and healthy food system. We work closely with our customers to deliver solutions to current and future challenges facing the animal production sector while using natural active ingredients such as chemotypes and polyphenols derived from plant extracts and spices. Our products follow a rigorous scientific validation process. They are then proven to work through thorough field research, certified for quality, and then brought to market as a complete and effective solution. In a world filled with rapid change, let Probiotech International deliver your opportunities for solutions and savings to your program. Innovation is in our nature. Visit probiotech.com/EN for more information.
Well, before we wrap up today, I want to ask the three questions that we ask all of our guests. And the first one is, do you have a favorite poultry-related resource? And I might have a guess.
For small and backyard flocks, I'm one of the major ones. We have a e-extension website that has all sorts of articles related to small and backyard flocks, and we do monthly webinars. And so I'm not the only one that does the webinars. We have them from around the country on a variety of topics. I was just looking at the recordings. It's like I have 118 recordings on various topics. And we still do it every month. So that, if you can't find an article on it, there's probably a webinar on it. We have Ask Extension, which you can type in your question, although we're not veterinarians and can't make diagnostics. We might give you some indications of possibilities, but we can't make a diagnosis. That's, I think, is for small and backyard flock owners, I think that's one of the best resources out there.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I've used many of your different handouts and bulletins to teach in my class because it's so understandable by the undergrad population, and then they go and they have a resource when they have a question in the future. So keep doing the bulletins, the extension articles. I love those. They're super digestible. So kudos. My second question is do you have a favorite non-poultry related resource?
Well, I read a lot of articles, so I don't really have a lot of time for non-fictional reading.
Sure.
But I do a lot of Audible books.
Yes.
So I can do it while driving to an extension workshop or whatever. We're a long state. So, there's a variety of different Audible type books that I like. So mostly science fiction. But.
Yeah. No, I really like Audible. So easy just to turn on. So great. Excellent. The last question of the day is, what's your best advice for somebody to be have a good future in the poultry industry.
Thinking outside the box. Too many times we're focused in on one thing. And I see that a lot with, I'm 65, but older people people have been doing it for a long time. They think they know the answer without thinking outside the box, or you can't fix that, or you can't do this, or you can't do that. I spend a lot of time volunteering with farmer to farmer overseas with backyard flocks and low income people who can't go buy feed or whatever. And so you have to think outside the box. How can you get something to feed these birds that doesn't cost anything? Yes. So, there's solutions out there if you just think outside the box. Whether it's a commercial industry, backyard flocks, whatever, don't be fixed on one thing. Think outside the box.
Oh, that's great. I think that will lead to success for many different reasons.
Whether it's teaching, extension, or research, thinking outside the box.
Yeah, pivot. That's a great way to sum that up. You can pivot. Well, thank you so much for talking to me today about this potential educational opportunity. And gosh, I'm happy to also kind of, share, and hopefully people will hear from this podcast or other resources that you also have available on your website too. So awesome. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome.